we have moved away from that we've evolved past it. But I don't think that there's been a proper reckoning for the insanity that is the draft, and the many, many times that it's been employed. And so I will say the most egregious the right answer to the question, what is the most egregious overreach on the part of the government, is it's the draft. Absolutely the draft. And everybody that's ever supported the draft should burn in hell. Fuck all of you pieces of shit.
That's a great answer, Charles, but you
Yes.
surprised me. I really thought you were going to go with the government doing that thing to the water and turning all the frogs into homosexuals.
Oh no! I was thinking, right, like them kicking Alex Jones off of social media. That is the most egregious overreach. I was thinking that. Yeah.
If you could sell that with a straight face, that would be money.
That would have been so out of left field. That'd be hilarious.
What about you,
All
Randy?
right. I think that what the militarization of the police, as far as we're seeing what they're willing to do, right? They're enforcing these mandates. They're getting literally away with murder. I think that is and I think Tom Woods had mentioned, he was talking about, if you're a law-abiding citizen, you pay your taxes and everything else, your business gets burned down a year ago because the cops stood down and wouldn't allow you to wouldn't protect you. I mean, or your property or your business or whatever it is. I mean, that is an awakening that I think a lot of people are seeing. The police don't work for you.
No.
They really don't. So
yeah, they're only a legitimate reason for existing. They're not following through with.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do know that, because it's always been like the courts have always said, hey, the police don't have any, you can't hold them liable for, failing to protect you. The courts have consistently, they have no obligation to protect you. But like this past year, I think has shown, just how just how not in your interest the police are. I mean, they'll just follow the orders. So
That's another zeitgeist thing moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah,
The right used to just be lockstep behind backing the blue. Now they're starting to realize that, their moral inclination is to prefer order over chaos, and I get that. But the police are not agents of order; they're agents of the state, and there's a difference, and it's enormous.
And it's really going to come to a head if these vaccine mandates really ramp up to a legitimate point where you start seeing kids like ripped out of homes by police officers because the parents are choosing to not get vaccinated, which, as we're seeing in other countries, is a very real thing that can come to our shores.
I mean, the police were already bashing heads in over violations of the lockdown mandates last year. I mean, they've already done it. They did it to those Hasidics in Brooklyn, and
the guy surfing in the
the group of Christians gathered outside in a field in Idaho, singing hymns.
Mm-hmm.
The police obeyed the orders of their masters and went and arrested those people. So,
and you would hope that community just got red-pilled hard, like suppository after suppository. Whether you want it or not, you're going to learn to hate the cops.
And it would be nice if that community was the size of the Christian community. That'd be a big bunch of red-pilled swallowing people that need to wake up.
Yeah, if you watch any of the First Amendment auditors, I mean, there's constantly these just police that are just drunk on power and harassing people, and half the time that's the whole purpose. They go out, they don't even know the law. They just basically, you need to do it because I said you need to do it, and you're like, no, you don't have a right to tell me to do this. And then finally, once they get the sergeant involved, and the sergeant's like, you need to just back off, you can't do this. But like most police officers don't even know what the law is. They just do what they're told. And even if they did know what the law is, just because something's legal doesn't mean it's moral. So
I think the little bit of the black pill there, going back to Waco. If you ever, you've probably seen, what's it called? Terms of Engagement? No.
There's 3 different ones, I believe.
Not the New Revelation, the one that preceded that.
Rules of Engagement?
Yeah. They, I believe it's either that one or New Revelation, either one. But they show like the community around Waco, and they're sick and tired of those people in the compound, and the cops should go in and start busting heads. And like those are like country Texas folk that are totally on Team Blue. And I don't know if after that episode came to a head, if those people were like, well, maybe that's not how it should have gone down. But I fear a fair number of them. Like we need to recognize we're never going to be the majority. We're never going to have 51% of the country being like, no, people should be able to live however they want. People really enjoy having the ability to impose their moral beliefs on others, and that's why it's so important for us to work to network the minority of people in this state who genuinely love individual liberties with each other, so we can be there to support one another.
So let's move into the last topic then, which was supposed to be what our vision for the LP is, and we can touch on that really quick before.
I thought we already blew past that.
We kind of mentioned it, but I don't.
No, I nailed that answer. I don't have to. That's all right. If you want to answer it, go for it.
Well, it sounded like you kind of made a vision that was very specific to what was going on with the COVID mandates, rather than. It seemed like it had a very specific aim rather than like a.
Well, in this moment, the Libertarian Party should be playing a much more substantial role than in past times where government oppression is not nearly as obvious. Yeah.
So what is the ultimate goal of libertarianism, though? Is it to build a more peaceful world where the state is no longer...
That's an entirely different question, right? Especially if you're asking, like, libertarianism versus the Libertarian Party.
Well, but shouldn't there be some kind of overlap? Shouldn't they kind of both be aiming for...
No, it's as different as what's the objective of the GOP versus Republicanism.
Well, because the Libertarian Party is just one... one vessel for supporting liberty and promoting liberty and moving towards, a free and prosperous society that we all want to live in, right? That's why we're all here, right? I mean...
Yeah,
I'm just here to force my will on others.
I'm just looking for another option before we start tooling up and,
That's right. Well, I'm looking for some... Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for the last option.
Well, and I also think that one of the things that the Libertarian Party could be successful at is kind of what the Progressive Party had done. I mean, progressives have made the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, more progressive over the last century. And I think that our job is to make both parties more libertarian. Even when you had like Ron Paul in the debates, right? Like Ron Paul being in those debates made Mitt Romney, made those other guys have to start speaking the language, even if they didn't fully believe it. They had to start speaking to some of these ideas. There was even moments when Mitt Romney was like, actually, I agree, Ron Paul 100% on this one. And, hopefully the LP could be that party that interjects new ideas and new thoughts into the conversation.
I think that just shows why we need to destroy the Republican Party.
Yeah, let's displace it. Yeah.
I don't think they have any political philosophy to speak of. And when they try to... Yes. The Republicans, when they try to pretend they have a political philosophy, they sort of pretend to be us. We believe in small, limited government, freedom of association. But as we know, it's all a lie. They dropped that at the drop of a hat. The Democrats do have a philosophy. It's a big government, statist philosophy. And in a more rational world, the political battle would be between the Progressive Party and the Libertarian Party. The Republicans are just in the way, pretending to be us while they engage in cronyism and in militarism, try and run a world empire, for crying out loud.
Well, and let's be honest, it's all a show. I mean, these politicians act like they're at each other's throats, but then immediately
it's all a lie.
Camera turns off. They're sitting there toasting, drinking together, having.
So to Randy's question, a reason, a vision for the Libertarian Party, a reason to join is to suck just one more membership registration away from the two statist parties. Their vision for society is going to get us all killed. The libertarian political philosophy is the only way to sustain a peaceful future. So let's get involved and make that happen.
Well, and unfortunately, if we are going to ever be successful in getting libertarians elected, we have a job to do, and that job is education. We have to inspire people. Yep. We have to have a message that makes people want to get involved, want to be, doing something with us. And yeah, I mean,
And that's certainly something where, unfortunately, the Libertarian Party, both nationally and in the state, have a long history of not being very inspiring, especially in times where inspiration, it was right there waiting, like, so just low hanging fruit, and they'd just be like, I'm good. And I guess now we have the opportunity to like actually carpe diem and provide people with evidence of why it is that they should be joining the cause of freeing individuals.
Yep. I think most people are libertarian. They just don't know it yet. And the more time they spend around us and more conversations they have, they'll start to realize that they are libertarian.
You sweet summer child.
I know, right? Like this, it's nice having someone so optimistic but I want to believe you're right. I don't think you are, but it takes all kinds, and
it's okay. We'll make them libertarians
by sending them to the camps. We send them to the camps.
Just a little arm twisting. It doesn't need to
actually,
go to camp level.
Government overreach might create more libertarians than we can.
In the gulag, we're all libertarians.
Well, why don't I cut the recording here? We'll just close it out with that. This has been the Homegrown Terrorist Network podcast, and I'll end the recording right here. And we'll get to the chat.
Battleborn Podcast.